All right. Now, so far we have explained the definition of Usul fiqh and Shari'ah, and we have come to the hukm shar'i, and we said that the hukm shar'i is the most important thing in the life of a Muslim, since it مش عارف. Hukm Shari is the most important thing in the life of the Muslim, since it leads him to do what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him, lead him to the obedience of Allah. If you do the obedience of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, then you get the pleasure of Allah, and when you get the pleasure of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you will be entered the paradise. All right, this is the hukm shar'i, and we said that the hukm shar'i is classified into hukm taklifi and hukm wada'i, all of that. Now we come to another stage or step in Usul al-fiqh, that is to get into the adillah, and I want you to focus on that to understand what is dalil. Well, actually, we say always that you as a Muslim, you seek the hukm shar'i. Whenever you get the hukm shar'i, you apply it. So, ilm usul al-fiqh in general is the science or the subject that will lead you to the hukm shar'i, or it searches to get the hukm shar'i in general. And in particular, the adillah of usul al-fiqh, these are the components of usul al-fiqh, which function is to lead us. When I say dalil in Arabic means guide. And what is guide? The guide is to lead me to the right path, the straight path, to lead me to the right, or the hukm shar'i, which is to be given by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and Allah is pleased when I do it. Right. So the word dalil itself means to guide us. Then what are these alillah that guide us to the hukm shar'i? The function of usul al-fiqh is to guide us to the hukm shar'i. How? And I said before, when I ask about fiqh, it is to ask what? When I ask about usul al-fiqh, it's to ask how and why, right? So the adillah, actually, they are the mechanism that will lead us to find out the hukm shar'i. And these adillah have taken most care of the usuliyin, and they agreed and disagreed upon some of them. Of course, there are adillah which are unanimously agreed upon by the scholars, and some other adillah which are not unanimously agreed upon by the scholars. This year, inshallah, we'll cover the adillah which are agreed upon by the scholars. These adillah are specifically the Qur'an, Sunnah, Ijma' and the Qiyas. Qur'an, Sunnah, Ijma' and the Qiyas. These are adillah. What does it mean when I say dalil? Dalil is to guide us to the hukm shar'i. The way how we are guided to the hukm shar'i. All right. Now, the first dalil of these adillah of usul al-fiqh is the Qur'an. All right, yes, the Qur'an. The Qur'an is the axis around which all the Islamic civilization rounds, or the holy text that all the Muslims abide by all the time, and they have solutions for all the problems whatsoever. So when I say the Qur'an, I need first to define the Qur'an. Now look, when I say I study the Qur'an in Usul al-fiqh, it means that I study it in general, meaning that I say the Qur'an is the first dalil or first evidence in Usul al-fiqh to extract the hukm shar'i. So I am not interested by any way to open the Mus'haf and get a specific ayah and to say this is the hukm shar'i, aqimu salah, establish the salah. Okay, this is the function of fiqh, but I have to see the Mus'haf, study it as a whole and analyze its function and see what are the sciences and the subjects that are needed to clarify the Qur'an. So I am not concerned to study the Qur'an in details, verse by verse, but I study the Qur'an in general. What is its definition? What are the subjects that are needed to study the Qur'an? How historically, how was the Qur'an compiled by the Sahaba, and how it continued to be to care about by the tabi'een and the other generations of the Muslim Ummah, and so on and so forth. But I'm not concerned to analyze each ayah verse by verse and to say what is the hukm shar'i in here. Right? So I say first, the Qur'an is the first dalil or first evidence in Usul al-fiqh. It means that whenever I have a problem, so I resort to what? First to the Qur'an. If occasionally I can't find in the Qur'an, I go to the Sunnah, and this is something else. This is another step, another evidence. If I can't find in the Sunnah, I go to Ijma'. If not in the Ijma', I go to Qiyas, and so on. So, but actually the Qur'an hasn't neglected anything, any problem in the life of the Muslim Ummah. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said in the Qur'an, ما فرطنا في الكتاب من شيء. We have neglected nothing in the Qur'an or in the book. Meaning that I can find a solution in the Qur'an for every problem. But this is according to what the scholars may look at the Qur'an, study it, analyze it, spend time on it. If they can't reach to a quick solution, they go to the Sunnah, but still in the Qur'an, the solution is there. The solution is still in the Qur'an. ما فرطنا في الكتاب من شيء. Right? But it depends on the intellectual capacity or capability of the scholars, how they can deal with the Qur'an. The Qur'an, dear Muslims, is our life. The Qur'an is our life. And let me ask, how many of you memorized the whole Qur'an or parts of the Qur'an? Maybe. Good. revealed upon the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, that's the Qur'an, and by or through Archangel Gabriel. And Gabriel is one of the angels, and angels are studied in our faith. You know the elements of faith in Islam? We say your faith, Islam, Iman. Okay? It is to believe in God, believe in the angels, believe in the scriptures, believe in the messengers, believe in the day of judgment, and believe in destiny. You know destiny? This is qadar. This is destiny. يبقى 6 elements in our faith we have to believe in. Good. These are Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, that's to believe in God, believe in the angels, it comes next to God, believe in the scriptures, books, Qur'an, Gospel, Torah, and the Suhuf, scriptures, the scripts of Moses and Abraham and so on, and the prophets and the messengers, the day of judgment, and destiny. These are the elements, 6 elements of our faith, while the elements of Islam are 5. You know, elements of Islam are 5, elements of faith are 6. Okay, so this is Archangel Gabriel, and the language by which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala revealed that Quran is the Arabic language. And may we ask why? What's the wisdom behind that? Arabic, not English, not French. We say that, and of course not Spanish. We say, you speak Spanish in Brazil.
It's Portuguese, very close.
Portuguese?
Yeah.
Ah, I see. Yeah, I forgot. So, Arabic language actually is the most eloquent language all over the world, all over history. So, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala chose the container to his speech. The best container to his speech is Arabic language. You find in Arabic language what you never find in other languages. It is large. It can give shades of meanings. In its analysis, you find something that is astonishing, really astonishing. Anyway, this is the Arabic language, all right. But you may ask why? What's the other people who don't speak Arabic? Shouldn't they know the Quran? Oh yes, and believe in the Quran not by the language but by anything else? Oh yes. The Quran itself is full of miracles. It's full of verses and signs about the creation, about the mankind, about the animals, about everything. And when you follow that, you will find that nowadays scientists of medicine, astronomy, and in every branch of science, they find that the Quran has been the book talking about certain miracle or certain thing, certain fact in their science 14 centuries ago. So you will find, if you are not speaking Arabic, so you will not be prevented of the miraculous aspects of the Quran, inshallah. Right. This is Arabic. and it reached us by the way of tawatur. What is tawatur? Tawatur, it is some transmitting of the text, any text, either the Qur'an or Sunnah or any text. When you say tawatur, so that's transmitting a text generation by generation, and in each generation there are a huge number of people saying the same thing, and they are not coming together to fabricate a lie on the Quran or fabricate a lie on the Prophet. So this is tawatur. Tawatur, you are receiving a text, and in the meantime it is not believable that that people have gathered to fabricate a lie on the Quran. ما تقدرش. مجموعة كبيرة من الناس يعني يؤمن تواطؤهم على الكذب. هي دي العربي بتاعها. يؤمن تواطؤهم على الكذب. Some of these people came from Yemen, and some came from Sham, some came from Iraq, some came from Egypt, and so on and so forth. So they are giving the same text letter by letter. So this is tawatur. Something I can't manage except to believe in it. I cannot refuse believing on it. يبقى ده اسمه التواتر. حاجة لا يمكن أبدا إن أنا أشك فيها. There is no even a shadow of doubt about this transmission of the Quran to us. No a shadow of doubt. Not a shadow of doubt at all. عارفين shadow of doubt؟ أي حاجة للشك. All right, and the last thing is that this Quran, the mere recitation of it, because it is miraculous, it is a speech of Allah, it has all this holiness. So the Quran, the mere recitation of it is considered to be an act of worship. Act of worship, that is, you are rewarded, very greatly rewarded by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Okay, this is the definition of the Quran. So the definition of the Quran again, it is the miraculous speech of Allah revealed on Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the last of the prophets, by Archangel Gabriel. It is in Arabic language. It has come to us through the way of tawatur, and the recitation of it is an act of worshipping. Clear? واضح? Okay. Now, the Quran has been compiled to us. The Quran has been compiled or gathered for next generations. It is actually not only that, but it was compiled in that time. So, for example, Umar ibn al-Khattab spent some 8 years or 10 years, or in some narrations 12 years, in order to keep or memorize the chapter of Al-Baqarah. And of course he is not just memorizing it, because we have nowadays our children, they are memorizing the Quran. You see that even sometimes you see a 7-year child memorizing the whole Quran, and this is i'jaz. So it is not that way to the companions. The companions meant in the first place to learn the Quran, memorize it, make it explanation and the tafsir of it by the Prophet, act on it, and then convey it to other people. All right? So they took care of compiling the Quran in their breasts, okay, in their hearts. Alaykum salam. Then, so this is one way to keep it through hearts, and to keep it written, also written by the scribes of the Prophet, peace be upon him. And by the way, the Prophet had about 32 scribes. 32 scribes of the of the companion, of his companions. So Muslim army lost people who memorized the Quran. And in the battle of Al-Yamama, the Muslims lost about 70 of the memorizers of the Quran. So Umar ibn al-Khattab came to the Khalifa Abu Bakr as-Siddiq and he said, we wanted to compile the Quran, nigma, to gather the Quran. We wanted to compile the Quran. Then Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, because he was a good follower of the Prophet, he said, how should I do something that the Prophet didn't? الرسول صلى الله عليه وسلم ما قالناش نعمل كده، ما قالناش ان احنا نجمع القرآن، ما قالناش. لكن أبو بكر عمر ibn al-Khattab, he continued convincing him, and he said, "Wallahi innahu la khayr." There is no evil in that. It is all good. جمع القرآن ما فيش فيه أي أذى، ما فيش فيه أي شر. And he kept convincing him for a time until he was convinced. And then they chose Zayd ibn Thabit. Zayd ibn Thabit, he was one of 5 who memorized the whole Quran. And they said to him, we wanted to compile the Quran. So you will have a committee headed by yourself and to compile the Quran. He said the same thing. How can I do something that the Prophet didn't? أعمل إزاي شيء الرسول بلا عمل ولا قال لنا نعمله. They kept convincing him until he was convinced. At that time, Zayd ibn Thabit said, as if when I accepted that, as if I bear on my shoulders the mountain of Uhud. This is a very great job, very hard job. And then they started to compile the Quran. And their system was that every verse, not every chapter, every verse had to be recited by 2 witnesses, يعني 2 من المسلمين يحفظوها, and to be found written by the scribes. Because when they started to do that, they started to compile, to gather, put together the materials that the Quran was written on, like wood, broad stone, and everything that can we write on. All that they gathered, all that together. Imagine the whole Quran was written on the الشعاب والسعب النخل والخشب وكذا وكذا, وجمعه هو ده كله. فشوف بقى هياخد مكان قد ايه. And every verse to be witnessed by 2 reciters of the Quran, they memorize it, and to be written. They compare that and okay, pass it until they came to the last two verses of Surah At-Tawbah. لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. They didn't find actually some two witnesses. They found only one witness memorizing these two verses of the Quran. It doesn't mean that there was or there were no companions memorizing them, but companions themselves were scattered in the land. They were not witnessing the compilation of the Quran. Many people memorized that, but they weren't present in Medina, where the compilation took place. So they stopped. They wanted two witnesses, and they have only one witness, Khuzayma ibn Thabit. Khuzayma ibn Thabit. Until one of the Sahaba said, I heard the Prophet saying that من شهد له خزيمة فهو حسبه. من شهد له خزيمة فهو حسبه. Meaning that whoever has Khuzayma as a witness, it is sufficient for him. Sufficient for him. Okay? ودي قصتها يعني معروفة، يعني مش هندخل فيها عشان الوقت. So they passed these two verses of the Quran. So this is in the era of Abu Bakr as-Siddiq, the first جمعة، الجمعة الأولانية بتاعت القرآن. And that compilation of the Quran was called صحف، جمعة الصحف. Why? Because the Quran was actually consistent of papers and sheets. Sheets, we say sheets because most of them were leather and so on. Sheets, but they were loose, and they combined, they gathered them all together, tied them, and this is the Quran. No observation of the methodology of the chapters of the Quran we know nowadays of the Mus'haf. The system or order of the chapters was not there. But what they cared about is to be quick in gathering the chapters of the Quran to be in one place. And for that reason, they took everything written from the houses of the mothers of the believers, أمهات المؤمنين، اللي عندها كام صحيفة كده واللي عندها كام سورة من القرآن وجمعوا كل ده. الصحابة اللي عنده حتة خشب موجود فيها سورة ولا كذا ولا كذا، كل ده اتجمع. So حذيفة ibn al-Yaman came to the Khalifa Uthman ibn Affan and said to him, look, this ummah will divide like the other nations, so get ready to compile and unify the Quran. So Uthman ibn Affan took the job of compiling the Quran in a new way, meaning to order the chapter of the Quran like this Mus'haf, to gather the whole people, or this compilation on the way of pronunciation of Quraysh, because Quran had at that time had 7 recitations. And the Quran was consistent to the accents of all the Arabs, but Quraysh was understood by all the Arabs, so they decided to collect the Quran in the accent of Quraysh. And that's what happened actually. Then Uthman got in the end what is called this Mus'haf, which is starting of Al-Fatiha and ending with An-Nas, and put to it 2 covers. So it is for the first time called Al-Mus'haf, okay? This is the جمع القرآن الجمعة بتاعت إيه؟ بتاعت سيدنا عثمان ابن عفان. That Mus'haf reached to us in that way. Reach it to us in that way. Starting Al-Fatiha, ending with An-Nas, 2 covers, and the order of the chapters are the same order like the Prophet was reciting it. Okay, Abu Bakr didn't care of taking that order, but Uthman took care of that order. And in the meantime, to be unified to the accent of Quraysh.